Thank you for listening to IFES on Elections. I'm Laura Osio. This past February marked the third anniversary of Zimbabwe's unity government, which was created after the polemic 2008 presidential election. The unity government allows for power to be shared between Robert Mugabe's party, the ZANU-PF, and the two MDC formations. Staffan Darnolf, IFES Chief of Party in Zimbabwe, gives us an update on where the unity government stands on fulfilling the agreement that brought it into existence, and when Zimbabwe might hold elections. What is the mandate of the Government of National Unity?
We have to realize that the Government of National Unity is a creation, a negotiated settlement based on the 2008 election. And it's a mechanism to transit the political responsibilities from the 2008 controversial elections into a new government. And the two steps are a new constitution, and based on this new constitution there will be elections to parliament and to the presidency, and thereby ending the mandate of the Government of National Unity.
Staffan, what is the latest with the unity government?
Well, the Government of National Unity in Zimbabwe has last week celebrated its third anniversary. So some stakeholders, as well as the members of the Government of National Unity, are frustrated that it's taking such a long time. But it's also to be expected that such an important process, which is very inclusive, will take some time. And also if we look at a comparative perspective, like for instance in South Africa, which took 4 to 5 years, we're still sort of on track when it comes to the transitional process here in Zimbabwe. And we shouldn't just focus on the timeline, but also what the Government of National Unity has actually been able to achieve during these 3 years. And there are significantly improvements when it comes to the economical situation in the country for a lot of people. There is still room for improvement, of course, but given where they come from, they made some significant improvements on this one. And also we can't just expect arch rivals to suddenly kiss and make up and work really well together. That's a process that takes time to build the necessary confidence and trust to work well together.
Tell us about the Constitution that is being written. Tell us how well it protects civil liberties, the rights of women, persons with disabilities, and also what the process entails.
As part of the global political agreement, there's supposed to be a new constitution drafted, which will be taken to the people in the referendum. And if approved, there will be a new election based on this constitution, and that ends this Government of National Unity. Right now, the drafters released unofficially, or I should say leaked unofficially, 18 chapters has been written. I've seen it, and I would say that it's a very good and a solid document. A lot of the fundamental human rights are protected, and they have extensive clauses in there when it comes to gender, people with disabilities, the media, and so on. So I think that they've done a remarkably good job when it comes to identifying the fundamental rights in this draft constitution.
What can you tell us about Zimbabwe's electoral system?
Right now, we're having a parliament that is made up of a Senate and a National Assembly. These two houses are elected via a first-past-the-post majoritarian system. In this new draft constitution that's out, they're completely changing this one and introducing a proportional system instead. The constitution is mute on the type of proportional system, but it still will entail for not just the parties but also the voters to get used to a new electoral system. So it will require an extensive public information campaign for people to fully appreciate how it works.
When can we expect elections to take place?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question right now, and there's a lot of discussions and rumors in Zimbabwe about the timing. But if we're looking at the steps that needs to be taken, up until now, the three principal signatories of the Global Political Agreement, they have not really been that much involved in reviewing the text. So that's about to happen right now. So it's once we know the feedback from these three principles, we will know how palatable and how close we are to finalizing the draft constitution. And once that's been approved, there's going to be a national stakeholder meeting with something like 2,500 delegates. They will discuss the text. It will be tweaked slightly, go back to Parliament, and then approved by Parliament, and then put forward for a referendum. And I would imagine that this will happen by end of November. There will be a referendum. The existing Parliament, its term ends in March, April next year. So I think that's the ballpark timeline that we're all aiming for. But we have to realize that a lot of attention is right now being focused on the constitutional drafting and the referendum, and very little focus on the actual elections to come. And that's of concern to me, because we will only have 3 to 4 months to delimit new constituencies, update the voter register parties, and get ready for the elections. And that will be a very challenging task for the new commission to prove itself able to do something like that.
What is the general opinion of the people about their government and the changes that are taking place?
I think that generally people are happy that the economy is improving, even though slightly, but it's still improving, moving in the right direction. They realize that it's a government of national unity, so there will be some backs and forth when it comes to policies. I think people are generally looking forward to an end of the government of national unity, so you have more of a new government that will be able to drive the change that's needed in Zimbabwe. But generally, I think people are hopeful and looking forward to the end of the government of national unity and what's to happen thereafter.
For more IFES on elections, please visit ifes.org.